After returning back home, I can't stop reliving our first win over and over in my memory. The surge of power Rigid Mind had unleashed down the stretch, muscling our way between the thundering pack, riding the force of nature past the finish line amidst the cacophony of cheers and flurry of flowers. Back home at the barn, Buster is putting away Rigid Mind in her stall when I see it. Just outside, next to a planter, is a small bread box-sized styrofoam cooler with a decorative envelope on top. I cautiously approach the container. I carefully peel open the thick cardboard stock envelope and remove the card, seeing a small, delicate cursive inscription. My eyes dart to the bottom and the signature, which reads H Getty, the wealthy horse owner to whom Buster shares an unknown sordid past, and whom I bested 2 races ago with my unproven filly. What could he possibly have to send to us? I hear his voice as I read the cursive inscription.
Dear Rider, the Crocus Stakes race was of no significance to me, other than it was where I first spotted the name of a rider which I didn't recognize. This name, in and of itself, would carry no significance to me other than the queer fact that it manifested itself again in taking first place at the Young Horse Stakes. Any man who takes a win, no matter how green and uncultured, still deserves a tip of the cap. Cheers to you and your stable, sir. Signed, H Getty.
The note comes across both complimentary and dismissive, but I can't help but feel satisfaction when I withdraw a fancy bottle of champagne. It's at this very moment when Buster emerges from the paddock.
Say, what do we got here? 1998. It's a good year. Yeah?
I pop the cork and drip some bubbly out for us. Buster seems to savor the taste of it. Then I tell him it's a gift from H Getty.
Piss water!
Buster spits his mouthful to the floor with disgust. Then he tells me,
I was a trainer for Getty, one of a team of elite horsemen, eventually invited into his inner circle. But I never truly knew him.
One fateful night at his private card game, I learned I do not wish to oblige him any further.
Those were strong words coming from Buster. Those and piss water. Buster and I avoid an uneasy atmosphere by focusing on preparations for our next race, the Pansy Stakes in Toronto. And before I even know it, I'm loading into the starting gate. On this particular day, in this particular race, we are the 12 horse, out of 12 horses. So we're positioned all the way on the outside, and will be at a slight disadvantage to the inside runners. But it is a long 11 furlong race, so if Rigid Mind can maintain her endurance, we should have the time to maneuver into contention. Go! The gate buzzes open and we surge forward, galloping ahead of the pack in our best start yet. As we enter the first turn, I let Rigid Mind settle in behind the leaders, in her comfort zone. I hold her wide right of the pack, and her condition only dips slightly as she maintains her high rate of travel across the thick turf. As we rocket around the bend, my heart palpitates with excitement as I realize she hasn't even broken a sweat. Her endurance is unaffected as we pull out of the turn remarkably close with the leaders. As the pack thunders down the home stretch in a tight-knit group, we sit 5 horses back from the leader. There's no need to urge her on as she's running a nice slow pace while maintaining her condition. Man, this horse can run! I think back to the day I purchased this filly from the horse middleman, Rascal Beaumont. 2 of her selling points Rascal pushed the hardest were her strength at long distance and her blazing acceleration out of the last turn. And sure enough, here we are, tearing out of the last turn, near the front, and her final burst waiting, locked and loaded. All I have to do is pull the trigger.
2 furlongs to go.
But as it turns out, hoofs beating the grass down the home stretch, I can leave the riding crop holstered. On her own accord, she glides past the leaders, taking a 1-length lead. As we slice through the final furlong to ear-piercing applause, I bring the crop down a couple times as a mere formality. Rigid Mind will accept nothing less than a win.
Finish!
After racking up back-to-back wins, there is a lot of excitement to go around. Penn Bowie approaches me to exclaim,
I'd like to submit an official request to visit your barn from the Handicappers Council.
The man at the pawn shop called and said,
So, probably got some cash on hand. You want to buy back some of your junk? Or maybe an acoustic guitar?
Then, the most unusual thing occurs. Another cold pack arrives. This time, it has champagne 1998, a Tupperware filled with what seems to be lox trimmings, and another correspondence from H Getty. It reads,
I can see you're fashioning yourself a winner, perhaps a future champion. That filly! Having made my life spotting talent and thusly acquiring crowns, I thought it prudent to put forth an invitation to you. I've noticed you've registered in an upcoming race, the Crystal Stakes in Miami. Although I won't have a horse running, I see it as an opportunity to meet at my golf course in the nearby town of Emerald Swamp, as I've got some potential business opportunities to extend to you. Good day, H Getty.
What on earth could these opportunities Getty put forth to me be? Does he really see champion potential in Rigid Mind? When I look at the upcoming schedule, sure enough, the upcoming race is only 3 weeks away. Buster insists it's too soon to race. Then, I tell him about the invitation from Getty and the opportunity.
Go ahead, break bread with the man. But I'm warning you, and I hope you listen to me. You may find yourself at a fork in the road, and before you know it, headed straight down a dark path with no breadcrumbs to boot.
After touching down near sun-splashed Gulfstream Park, Buster heads to the training facility for warm-ups while I head out to tee off with Hillary. I have to admit, I feel a bit nervous about playing Getty on the course he built and owns, but he immediately puts me at ease, assuring me he's an awful golfer even on his own course. He used to lose so many balls in the drink, he tells me, that he had to remove all the water hazards on the course. Wasn't that difficult to do, I ask him?
Why, it's no more complex than taking a straw and sipping up a puddle of Chateau Neuf de Pape from a countertop.
He says. Before you know it, I realize we've played a few holes and haven't even discussed anything to do with horses. And when the subject is breached as we stroll across the 6th fairway, it's because of a story he tells me regarding a 6-figure bidding war he engaged in against a sultan over a colt that never ended up running a single race. Then, wouldn't you know it, I had a short pitch overshoot the green into some tall grass, and I lost my ball. It's the darndest thing, but I don't see it anywhere. Getty shrugs it off and insists I use one of his extra golf balls, which I am grateful for. But when he withdraws it from his bag and presents it to me, it's the most gaudy and garish bauble I've ever struck. But I accept the kind gesture, and end up getting a birdie and saving the next couple pars. Getty then spends a good deal of time talking up his estate back home, up the coast from Malibu. The fresh air, he tells me, his private stables, he tells me. He insists I come visit when the time is right. Then, before you know it, we finish the course. Getty has to leave for a business meeting and wishes me luck at the race as he won't be able to attend. How odd, I think, as I make my way from the course, that Getty didn't present an offer or a deal, or a fork in the road with one dark passage as Buster had warned. Could it be that somehow Getty was interested in a friendship?